10 things man should not do with women. Stoicism, victory stoic. Let's face it, relationships can feel like walking a tightrope blindfolded. One wrong move and suddenly you're the too nice guy, the clingy guy, or worse, the guy she quietly ghosted and never thought about again. Brutal, right? Here's the reality. Most men fail in relationships not because they don't care, but because they overstep boundaries they didn't even know existed. They chase when they should pause, talk when they should listen, and compromise their integrity in the name of affection. It's not weakness, it's misdirection. But here's the good news. You don't have to keep repeating those mistakes. The ancient Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, didn't just leave us with philosophy for battles in politics. They gave us tools to navigate the battlefield of human connection with clarity, strength, and purpose. Today, we'll uncover the 10 things men should never do with women. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about showing up as the kind of man who commands respect, cultivates real connections, and stands unwavering in his values. Before we begin, I challenge you to watch this video to the end, take these lessons to heart, and reflect on how you can integrate them into your life starting today. Drop a strength in clarity in the comments if you're ready to become a better partner and a stronger man. Let's get into it. Rule number 1, stop chasing shadows. It's time to lead from within. Number 1, don't over-pursue or chase excessively. Imagine this. You're texting her good morning, good afternoon, and good night like you're running a 24/7 emotional customer support hotline. You plan surprises, drop compliments like confetti, and rearrange your entire schedule just in case she wants to meet. And then, nothing? No text back, no gratitude, just silence. Here's the kicker. The harder you chase, the faster she runs. Why? Because over-pursuing screams desperation. It's like shouting, "I need you to feel whole." And nothing dries up attraction faster than being someone's emotional crutch. A Stoic perspective. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And if your thoughts are consumed by someone who isn't reciprocating your energy, guess what? You're handing over your happiness on a silver platter." Let's be clear. Pursuing someone isn't inherently bad, but there's a fine line between showing interest and sacrificing your dignity. Chasing excessively makes her the prize while you become, well, the guy doing all the chasing. A practical, relatable example. Picture this. You meet someone you like at work. She smiles at your jokes and you feel the spark. Great, right? But instead of letting things unfold naturally, you bombard her with texts like, "Did you get my message? Did you see that meme I sent? Want to grab coffee? How about dinner? Or maybe brunch?" She might have been interested at first, but now all she sees is a guy trying way too hard. It's like a comedy show where the punchline is desperation. Suddenly, her replies get shorter, her tone colder, and before you know it, you're left on red. How to fix it? 1. Lead with purpose. Instead of obsessing over her responses, focus on your own goals. A man with direction is infinitely more attractive than one who's just waiting for her next text. 2. Give space. If she's interested, she'll reciprocate. If not, chasing won't change her mind. Respect her boundaries and let her come to you. 3. Cultivate confidence. Confidence isn't about being cocky, it's about knowing your worth whether or not she's interested. Injecting humor. Think of this like a cat. The more you chase it, the faster it runs away. But the moment you sit down and chill, it saunters over like, "Oh, now you're interesting." The same principle applies here. Stop sprinting after her and let your energy draw her in naturally. Stoic wisdom for the road. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Over-pursuing isn't just unattractive, it's a sign that you're not in control of your own emotions. Master yourself, and the chase becomes irrelevant because the right people will naturally align with your energy. So the next time you feel tempted to over-pursue, ask yourself, are you chasing her or are you chasing the version of yourself who doesn't need to? Spoiler alert, that second guy, he always wins. Number 2, don't neglect your purpose for her. Imagine you're a ship with a clear destination. You've plotted the course, set sail, and the wind is in your favor. But then someone special comes aboard and says, "Hey, this view is nice, but what if we just drift here for a while?" Caught up in their charm, you toss the map aside, cut the anchor loose, and before you know it, you're miles off course, lost and wondering what happened to your goals. Neglecting your purpose for someone else isn't romantic. It's self-sabotage. While it might seem noble to prioritize her happiness above all else, a man who loses sight of his path becomes a shadow of himself. And shadows, my friend, don't inspire admiration. They blend into the background. A practical, relatable example. Think about that friend who had big dreams of starting his own business, but suddenly turned into a full-time boyfriend assistant. His nights of brainstorming are replaced with endless Netflix marathons. His weekends? Devoted to shopping trips and errands he never wanted to run. A few months later, he's frustrated, unfulfilled, and feeling trapped. Not because of her, but because he abandoned his own ambitions. Why it matters. Women are naturally drawn to men who are passionate and driven. When you're aligned with your purpose, you radiate confidence, focus, and resilience. All qualities that foster attraction and respect. But when you sideline your dreams to revolve around her, you risk losing both your identity and her respect. How to fix it? 1. Set non-negotiables. Your goals should never be optional. Make time for them, even when the relationship feels all-consuming. 2. Communicate your vision. Share your aspirations with her. A healthy partner will support your ambitions, not see them as competition. 3. Balance, don't sacrifice. Relationships require effort, but not at the expense of who you are. Find ways to grow together without abandoning your individual paths. Injecting a little humor. Neglecting your purpose for someone is like ordering a salad at a steakhouse just because your date is on a health kick. Sure, it shows you care, but deep down, you're starving for the main course. Don't settle for lettuce when your heart craves something greater. Stoic wisdom for the road. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." A Stoic man knows that his purpose isn't negotiable. It's the compass that guides his life. Staying true to it isn't just good for you, it's what makes you magnetic. So, next time you're tempted to pause your journey for someone else, remember this. A strong ship doesn't change its course for the waves. It sails through them with conviction, inviting others to join the ride. Stick to your purpose, and you'll not only inspire her, but you'll also stay grounded in who you're meant to be. Number 3, don't try to control or change her. Picture this. You meet someone incredible, charming, intelligent, and full of quirks that make her unique. But as time goes on, those quirks start to feel more like obstacles. Maybe it's her love of spontaneous road trips while you prefer planning every detail. Or her obsession with late-night karaoke when you'd rather have a quiet evening. The temptation creeps in. If only she changed just a little, everything would be perfect. Here's the hard truth. Trying to control or change someone is not only futile, it's exhausting. Relationships aren't remodeling projects where you can knock down a few walls and repaint the personality to match your taste. Instead of creating harmony, this mindset breeds resentment and stifles authenticity. A practical, relatable example. Think of the guy who constantly micromanages his partner's life. He picks apart her wardrobe, questions her friends, and suggests better ways she could spend her time. He thinks he's helping, but what he's really doing is suffocating her individuality. Fast forward 6 months, she's distant, frustrated, and no longer herself. The relationship ends and he's left wondering why things fell apart. Why it matters. Love isn't about control, it's about acceptance. True connection thrives when both people are free to be themselves, flaws and all. When you respect her autonomy, you show strength and maturity, qualities that build trust and deepen intimacy. On the flip side, trying to mold her into your version of ideal sends a clear message. Who you are isn't enough for me. How to approach this like a Stoic. 1. Embrace differences. Her quirks aren't flaws, they're what make her unique. Celebrate them instead of trying to fix them. 2. Focus on your sphere of control. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. You can control your actions and attitudes, but not hers. 3. Be a partner, not a sculptor. Support her growth without dictating the direction. Encourage her ambitions, even if they don't align perfectly with yours. Injecting a little humor. Trying to control a woman is like attempting to teach a cat to fetch. Sure, you might get her attention for a moment, but before you know it, she's back to doing her own thing, probably judging you from the top of the fridge. A lesson from Stoic wisdom. Authentic relationships don't need control to thrive. They need freedom. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The strongest bonds are built on mutual respect, not manipulation. The bigger picture. When you stop trying to control her, something incredible happens. She feels safe to be herself. That safety creates a space for honesty, growth, and deeper love. You'll find that the quirks you once thought of as problems are actually the traits that make her extraordinary. Remember, a Stoic man doesn't demand change. He inspires it through his own actions. Be the calm amidst the chaos, the rock she can rely on, and the man who values her as she is, not as who you think she should become. That's where real strength lies. Number 4, don't play mind games. The classic mind game, where communication turns into a cryptic puzzle, and I'm fine actually means you're in trouble, but good luck figuring out why. It's tempting to believe a bit of strategy will give you the upper hand in relationships. But here's the truth. Playing games is like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. It's frustrating, pointless, and nobody ends up winning. A humorous look at real-life mind games. Picture this. You're texting her, and instead of saying what's on your mind, you decide to play it cool. You wait exactly 3.5 hours to reply because that's what confident guys do. She responds with a single word. Okay. Panic sets in. Now you're Googling, what does okay mean in a text from a woman? Before launching into a double text spiral that leaves you looking like an insecure weather app. Is everything fine? Are you mad? Did I do something wrong? Congratulations, my friend. You've just defeated yourself in the game you were trying to win. Why? It's a problem. Mind games breed confusion and mistrust. Instead of creating interest, they sow seeds of frustration. Sure, you might get a reaction in the short term, but over time, she'll grow tired of decoding your mixed signals. And let's be honest, nobody wants to feel like they're auditioning for a role in your psychological thriller. The Stoic perspective. Seneca once said, truth does not need to be defended. Let it speak for itself. Mind games, by contrast, are rooted in insecurity and fear of vulnerability. A Stoic man doesn't manipulate emotions. He communicates with clarity and integrity. How to ditch the games and win with authenticity. 1. Say what you mean. If you're interested, show it. If you're upset, express it calmly. Clarity isn't boring. It's refreshing. 2. Stop keeping score. Relationships aren't tennis matches. There's no prize for who texts first or who cares less. 3. Drop the pretense. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the foundation of genuine connection. A little humor to drive the point home. Playing mind games is like trying to train a squirrel to mow your lawn. It might sound clever in theory, but in practice, absolute chaos. Nobody knows what's happening, and in the end, you're left with a mess and a very confused squirrel. Why it matters. Genuine connection doesn't come from manipulation. It comes from honesty. A woman who values you will appreciate your straightforwardness far more than your ability to leave her guessing. On the other hand, if she thrives on drama and games herself, you'll save time by showing her the door. The Stoic reminder. Epictetus reminds us, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. When you abandon mind games, you open the door to real communication, learning, and growth. The takeaway. Real men don't play games, they show up authentically. When you choose honesty over strategy, you invite the kind of relationship that doesn't require constant calculation. Save the mind games for chess night and let your actions and words align. After all, the strongest connection you can build is one where you don't need to second-guess every move. Because here's the secret, If you're busy playing games, you'll never notice when someone better isn't playing along. Number 5, don't base your happiness on her reactions. Relationships are wonderful. They add joy, warmth, and a sense of connection to life. But here's the thing. If your happiness depends entirely on her mood, her opinions, or even her text reply speed, you're not building a relationship. You're building an emotional roller coaster, and you're strapped in without a seatbelt. A gentle yet real-life example. Imagine you've planned a special dinner for the two of you. You've booked the table, dressed to the nines, and even Googled how to pronounce charcuterie just in case it's on the menu. But when she arrives, she seems distracted. Maybe she had a rough day at work, or maybe she's just not in the mood to dive into the elaborate plan you've crafted. Suddenly, the evening feels ruined, not because it actually is, but because you've made her reaction the sole indicator of your success. You're left deflated, wondering if you're enough or if you did something wrong. But here's the truth. Her feelings in the moment might have nothing to do with you. Why it's a problem. When you tie your emotional well-being to someone else's reactions, you give away your power. You become reactive instead of grounded, and your sense of self-worth starts fluctuating like the stock market. This isn't just exhausting for you, it's unfair to her. No one wants to feel like they're responsible for someone else's entire happiness. The Stoic perspective. Epictetus said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Happiness that depends on external factors is fragile. A Stoic man understands that inner peace comes from within, not from someone else's validation or approval. How to cultivate emotional independence. 1. Invest in your own joy. Find hobbies, passions, and pursuits that light you up. Whether it's hitting the gym, learning guitar, or volunteering, these activities remind you that happiness is something you can create for yourself. 2. Pause before reacting. When her reaction isn't what you hoped, take a step back. Ask yourself, is this about me, or is it about her day, her feelings, or something entirely unrelated? 3. Express without expectation. Share your thoughts and plans with love, not with the hope of getting a specific reaction. Genuine giving is its own reward, a gentle dose of humor. Depending on her mood to validate your happiness is like using a weather app to plan your emotions. Oh, she's slightly cloudy with a chance of irritation today. Better prepare for disappointment. But life doesn't work that way. You're not a thermometer, you're the sun. Bring your own warmth. Why it matters. When you cultivate your own happiness, you become a stronger, more balanced partner. Instead of seeking reassurance, you offer stability. This makes you more attractive, more confident, and, most importantly, more at peace. The Stoic reminder. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Your happiness isn't a gift someone gives you, it's a skill you develop. The takeaway. A relationship is like a dance. It's about partnership, not dependency. When you stop relying on her reactions to validate your worth, you free both yourself and her to show up authentically. And as you focus on building your own inner joy, you'll find that your connection deepens. Not because you need her, but because you choose her. And isn't that the most beautiful kind of love? One built not on need, but on mutual appreciation and shared happiness. Number 6, don't ignore red flags. In the early glow of affection, it's easy to see only what we want to see. The little things, the way she dismisses a waiter, the subtle digs disguised as jokes, the habit of constantly scrolling through her phone when you're pouring your heart out, can seem insignificant. But here's the Stoic truth. Red flags ignored in the beginning become the chains that bind you later. The subtle weight of a red flag. Imagine you're building a ship. You notice a small crack in the hull but think, it's just a little flaw, nothing serious. At first the ship sails fine. The breeze is refreshing and the sun glimmers on the water. But as the journey continues, water starts seeping in through that tiny crack. By the time the storm hits, it's too late to repair. The ship you so lovingly built begins to sink. Red flags in a relationship are like those tiny cracks. They seem small, but over time they grow, until they threaten the foundation of what you've built. Why we ignore them. Red flags often hide behind the veil of hope. You tell yourself, she'll change, or worse, maybe I'm overthinking it. But hope is not a strategy, and overthinking isn't the enemy. Ignoring the signs is. Pretending a problem doesn't exist only gives it the space to grow unchecked. The Stoic insight, Epictetus warns us, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. What's in your power? Observation, clear thinking, honest evaluation. Ignoring a red flag is choosing illusion over truth, and the Stoics remind us that truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is always our ally. An epic and sobering example. Consider a relationship where the small signs were brushed aside, the habit of keeping secrets, the occasional sharp word, the refusal to take responsibility for mistakes. Over time, these tiny cracks turn into gaping chasms. Trust erodes, resentment builds, and the relationship collapses, not because of one grand failure, but because of 1,000 ignored whispers. How to confront red flags. 1. Acknowledge what you see. If something feels off, don't dismiss it. Write it down, reflect, and consider whether it aligns with your values and needs. 2. Ask questions early. If she consistently dismisses your concerns, ask yourself if this is the dynamic you want long-term. 3. Seek clarity, not perfection. No one is perfect, but there's a difference between imperfection and patterns of behavior that harm. Learn to recognize the distinction, why it matters. Ignoring red flags isn't kindness, it's negligence toward your future self. The Stoic man values integrity, and that includes staying true to what he needs in a partnership. Letting small issues slide doesn't protect harmony, it postpones inevitable conflict. A Stoic reminder. Seneca said, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." Ignoring warning signs today only guarantees suffering tomorrow. Confronting them with honesty and courage might feel uncomfortable, but it spares you from far greater pain. A quiet, powerful resolve. Red flags are not your enemy, they're guides. They teach you where to set boundaries, where to ask questions, and when to walk away. If you view them not as threats but as tools, you can build something stronger, truer, and more enduring. The takeaway. The Stoic path is one of courage, and sometimes that courage looks like saying, "This isn't right for me." Recognizing and addressing red flags isn't the end of love. It's the beginning of love rooted in respect and authenticity. Because the greatest act of love you can offer is not to lose yourself, it's to honor yourself. In doing so, you create the space for a connection that isn't just good, it's great. Number 7, don't overexpose your vulnerabilities immediately. Vulnerability is a cornerstone of intimacy, but timing is everything. Open your heart too soon, and you risk handing someone the keys to your emotional fortress before they've proven they'll protect it. Stoicism teaches us to guard our inner world with wisdom, not out of fear, but out of respect for its value. The danger of overexposure. Picture this. You're on a first date, and within an hour, you're spilling your deepest fears, past heartbreaks, and life's failures. You think, "I'm being real. This will show her who I truly am." But here's the problem. Trust is built over time, not dumped in one sitting. Instead of fostering connection, this flood of vulnerability can overwhelm, or worse, make you seem ungrounded. The harsh truth is that not everyone who listens has your best interests at heart. Some will use your openness against you, while others may simply lose respect, seeing you as someone who lacks emotional control. Why we overexpose. For many, overexposing vulnerabilities stems from a desperate need for connection. It's an attempt to fast-track intimacy, to be seen and understood. But Stoicism reminds us that true connection doesn't require rushing. It requires balance, patience, and discernment. The Stoic insight. Seneca wisely said, "To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden." Vulnerability, when wielded with care, is a strength. But when shared indiscriminately, it becomes a burden, not just for you, but for the relationship itself. A sobering example. Imagine you've just met someone new, and you're eager to make a strong impression. You open up about childhood struggles, financial anxieties, and lingering fears about the future. At first, she listens attentively, but over time, the weight of your revelations creates imbalance. The relationship becomes less about mutual growth and more about emotional caretaking, something no healthy dynamic can sustain. Contrast this with a more stoic approach. You reveal parts of your story gradually, giving the relationship room to develop naturally. Trust builds as both parties show their character through actions, not just words. How to master balanced vulnerability. 1. Pace yourself. Think of vulnerability like seasoning in a dish. Too little, and it lacks flavor. Too much, and it becomes overpowering. Share your stories over time, letting trust grow naturally. 2. Discern your audience. Not every person deserves to hear your full story. Assess whether the individual has earned the right to access your inner world. 3. Frame vulnerability with strength. When you share, do so from a place of confidence, not desperation. For example, instead of saying, "I've always struggled with this," try, "This is something I've worked hard to overcome." Why it matters. Overexposure doesn't just risk alienating others. It risks diminishing your own sense of strength. Vulnerability, when poorly timed, can feel like giving away your power. Stoicism teaches that your inner world is sacred. Share it wisely and sparingly, and it will be met with the respect it deserves. The power of restraint. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Guarding your vulnerabilities is not about closing off. It's about recognizing their value. Restraint isn't weakness, it's wisdom. The takeaway: true connection doesn't come from bearing all immediately. It comes from shared experiences, mutual respect, and a gradual unfolding of trust. Your story is worth telling, but it's also worth protecting. The right person will appreciate your vulnerability because it's shared with intention, not impulse. They'll value it not as something given cheaply, but as a profound offering of trust. And in that balance lies the foundation of a relationship built to last. Number 8, don't neglect setting boundaries. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your peace and define your self-worth. Neglect them, and you risk becoming a shadow of yourself, overrun by someone else's expectations. A Stoic man knows that love without respect, starting with self-respect, isn't love at all. Why boundaries matter. Imagine a river without its banks. It spills everywhere, losing its direction and purpose. That's what life feels like when you fail to set boundaries. Chaotic, unfocused, and emotionally draining. In a relationship, boundaries aren't about shutting someone out. They're about keeping the foundation strong. They help both partners know where they stand and what's valued. A gentle reminder. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Your freedom lies in the ability to say yes and no with clarity and confidence. When you honor your own needs, you teach others to do the same. How to practice boundaries. 1. Communicate calmly. "I need some time to focus on myself today" is not selfish, it's necessary. 2. Stay consistent. A boundary isn't a one-time declaration. Reinforce it with your actions. 3. Respect hers. 2. Boundaries go both ways. They create mutual respect and understanding. The result. When you set boundaries with kindness, you invite a relationship built on trust, not obligation. You protect your energy and ensure that your connection grows with intention, not out of imbalance. Remember, boundaries aren't walls. They're bridges that guide love and respect in both directions. And in setting them, you're not only protecting yourself, but also honoring the relationship. Number 9, don't use kindness as a transaction. Kindness is beautiful when it's genuine. But when you start treating it like a down payment for affection, it stops being kindness and turns into a sneaky little contract she didn't sign. Newsflash, I did the dishes, so now she owes me endless praise is not a winning strategy. The trap of transactional kindness. Picture this. You surprise her with her favorite coffee. She smiles, thanks you, and goes about her day. But deep down, you're secretly thinking, wait, where's my gold star? A kiss? A standing ovation? Later, when she doesn't gush over your heroic gesture, resentment starts creeping in. That's not kindness. That's an invoice. It's like a vending machine mentality. Insert nice gesture, expect emotional reward. Real relationships don't work like that. You're not the CEO of Kindness Inc., the Stoic perspective. Seneca once said, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." If your kindness comes with hidden expectations, you're not steering your ship. You're just drifting, hoping for applause. True kindness is anchored in the sincerity, not strings. Why this matters. Transactional kindness sets both of you up for disappointment. She'll feel pressured to perform gratitude on demand, and you'll end up bitter when she doesn't. Meanwhile, genuine kindness, the kind that expects nothing, strengthens trust and connection. How to break the cycle. 1. Check your motives. Are you helping because you want to, or because you want something back? 2. Celebrate privately. Let your acts of kindness be their own reward. Feel good about being good, period. 3. Be honest with yourself. If you're feeling unappreciated, communicate it calmly. Don't stew in silence. The punchline. Kindness is a gift, not a bargaining chip. When you give freely, it's disarming in the best way. She'll notice and respect the difference. And hey, isn't it way cooler to be genuinely kind than a walking vending machine of emotional IUs? Let your actions shine without strings attached. You'll both be happier for it. Number 10, don't forget to listen actively. Listening is often treated like the side salad of communication, something you have to endure before the main course of speaking. But in reality, listening is the steak, the main dish, the heart of any meaningful relationship. Forgetting to listen actively is like trying to steer a car with no wheels. You're not going anywhere, no matter how much fuel or words you're pouring in. The everyday mishaps of not listening. Imagine this. She's telling you about her tough day at work. You're nodding, but in your head, you're calculating how much time you need to set up the TV for the game tonight. When she pauses and asks, "What do you think about what I just said?" You mutter something like, "Oh yeah, totally unfair," only to realize she was talking about how her coworker was actually in the right. Ouch. Or take this scenario. She tells you 3 times that her friend's name is Jane, and you confidently refer to her as Jill at dinner. Cue the awkward silence and her sigh of frustration. Why listening matters. Active listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about understanding the feelings and thoughts behind them. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "Nature has given us 1 tongue, but 2 ears, that we may hear twice as much as we speak." He wasn't suggesting we mute ourselves forever, but emphasizing the importance of receiving before reacting. When you listen attentively, you make her feel valued. It shows that her thoughts, concerns, and joys matter to you. On the flip side, failing to listen signals indifference, even if you don't mean it. How to listen like a Stoic. 1. Pause before responding. Instead of preparing your reply while she's talking, focus entirely on her words. Example, if she's venting about her boss, don't jump in with, "Well, maybe you're overreacting." Just say, "That sounds frustrating. Tell me more." 2. Ask questions. Demonstrate that you care by seeking clarity or showing curiosity. Example, "Why do you think your coworker acted that way?" Or, "What do you think is the best way forward?" 3. Mirror and validate. Reflect back what you hear to confirm your understanding. Example, "It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed because your team didn't step up. That's tough. I'd feel the same." Examples of real-life listening wins. At work. During a team meeting, instead of interrupting or zoning out, actively listen to everyone's suggestions. When you later build on their ideas, they'll notice and appreciate that you actually paid attention. At home, if she mentions offhandedly that she's been craving a certain dessert, surprise her with it later. That simple act shows you were listening when it seemed like a small detail. The magic of active listening. When you truly listen, conversations transform, arguments de-escalate, trust grows. Even the mundane moments, like her recounting a grocery store mishap, become opportunities for connection. It's not about solving her problems or having the perfect response. It's about being present. The bottom line, listening is an underrated superpower. It's the difference between making her feel heard versus making her feel invisible. As Epictetus taught, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Practice this, and you'll not only deepen your relationship, but also earn her respect. Plus, you'll never confuse Jane with Jill again. Conclusion: master yourself, master your connections. In the grand theater of life and relationships, we are not just performers. We are the scriptwriters, the directors, and the architects of our own journeys. The way we carry ourselves, the principles we embody, and the respect we offer define the quality of our connections. When we adhere to these Stoic truths, we don't just navigate relationships, we transform them into meaningful, empowering experiences. As Marcus Aurelius taught, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The challenges in relationships, the moments of misunderstanding, and the tug of emotional attachments are not obstacles. They are stepping stones to mastery. Each misstep offers wisdom. Each lesson carves strength into our character. But let's be clear, this isn't about perfection, it's about intention. It's not about chasing validation or forcing control. It's about showing up with integrity, curiosity, and self-respect. It's about becoming the kind of person who inspires trust, admiration, and love, not through grand gestures, but through unwavering presence and authenticity. Your next move. The question now is simple. What kind of man will you choose to be? Will you let fleeting desires dictate your actions, or will you rise above, guided by wisdom, purpose, and clarity? The choice is yours, and the power has always been within you. Let these principles light your path. Let them remind you that true strength isn't about domination. It's about mastery. Mastery of self, mastery of relationships, mastery of life. A heartfelt thank you. Thank you for taking the time to explore these Stoic principles with us today. Your journey of growth and self-discovery inspires not just you, but everyone around you. Your commitment to bettering yourself is proof that greatness begins within. Call to action. If this video resonated with you, let us know in the comments below. What Stoic principle spoke to you the most? Share your thoughts or simply write "Mastery over Impulse" to affirm your journey toward clarity and purpose. Don't forget to like this video. It helps more people discover the transformative power of Stoicism. Subscribe to Victory Stoic for more insights on building strength, mastering relationships, and living a purpose-driven life. And hit the notification bell so you never miss our latest wisdom-packed videos. Stay connected. This is just the beginning. Each new video is a step closer to unlocking your full potential. Share this with someone who's ready to elevate their mindset and relationships. Together, let's create a community of resilient, empowered individuals. Until next time, stay strong, stay stoic, and let life unfold with clarity, courage, and grace. See you in the next chapter of your growth.